Good morning. I'm not Lord Trimble, much to my regret, but we're doing an exchange. He's going after lunch, and I'm honored to have his opening spot. And thank you, Hillel. This would not occur were it not for Hillel and all the wonderful people that work for UN Watch and the other 25 organizations, NGOs, that together have brought us here this morning. Hillel was unusually restrained. Not once did he refer to the Human Rights Council as that do-nothing, good-for-nothing organization that he called them when he appeared before the Human Rights Commission, the predecessor of the Human Rights Council, some years ago. But we must ask ourselves, why is it that the Human Rights Council has done so little? And why is it that we come back here year after year in the name of human rights? This is the 8th Geneva Summit on Human Rights and Democracy. It is altogether fitting that we should be here. It's more than fitting. It's essential. Were we not here, the voices of these brave people would not be heard. We're here to proclaim that Mr. Haidar should be released from prison in Saudi Arabia, that the regime in North Korea cannot be permitted in the name of humanity to commit the atrocities that are committed every day, nor the atrocities that are committed against the people in Tibet by the Republic of China. The United Nations visited upon the citizens of Venezuela, two of the daughters of the imprisoned mayor of Caracas for a year, nor the outrageous actions taken against women in Iran. It's not enough that women be allowed to go into stadiums. Women must have all the rights of every other citizen of Iran, as must all the people of the Islamic Republic of Iran. And Eritrea, we have a representative from Eritrea here, a hero who speaks out in the name of human rights, a lawyer and a true believer in the rights of all of us as individuals. We can go around the world. There are few countries that are entirely immune. But as our coming here every year, and this is the 8th year, and we'll be back next year for the 9th and the 10th, is that enough? Essential, yes, more than fitting. But the question is it enough? And I would suggest to you the answer is no. All the words that we say here, all the proclamations, all the awards are not enough. We need you to do more, not simply lament that Mr. Haidar is in prison, received 50 lashes and sentenced to 1,000. But we must and we shall get him out of prison. It's not enough to condemn the regime in North Korea. We must and we shall live to see the day when Kwon Il-sung is indicted and brought before the Court of International Justice, the International Criminal Court, pardon me. And I hope that my country, the United States of America, should, as it must, become a member of the International Criminal Court. And we must and we shall see the mayor of Caracas freed from prison and human rights upheld, because simply talking is not enough. What we need is action. We need to go from here not only committed, but resigned, taking upon ourselves, each of us, the responsibility to act. Speaking, yes, acting to bring about a change. The human rights situation has not improved over the 8 years that we've been coming together here. Indeed, we've heard persons say, and I believe they're correct, and I join with them, the human rights situation around the world has deteriorated for reasons political, for reasons of the absence of statehood in much of the world, because of the rise of ideology, religious fanaticism, arbitrary conduct, and simply not holding people to account. Atrocities are committed, and the response to date has been largely words. Words alone will not bring about the end to the atrocities that are being committed. We need to go beyond that, and each of us take upon ourselves the responsibility for changing the world for the better. Now, you and I all recognize that human rights abuses did not begin even in my lifetime, and certainly not in yours. They've existed since time immemorial. You may say it's in the nature of human beings to do good and evil. If so, let us focus on doing the good and restraining the evil. The evil that lurks within all of us has its genesis in many cases. Let's recognize it. This concept of the other. The other is someone who we think about as being somehow not only different from us, but less meritorious. Whether that difference be size, color of hair, race, color of skin, religion, culture, economic success, the other. And there's nothing that says you can't do things to the other. It's innate within human nature. So let us each take upon ourselves the pledge to understand that that other that lurks in our minds and finds expression in the actions of others, of some, that other is we. There are no others. We are all in the same lifeboat, all pulling in the same direction, all headed in the same direction. Life is not a sum-zero game. There are no total winners, no total losers. We're all together, and the other is we. Let me conclude by telling you of a man whom I don't think any of you knows, and I don't think any of you has ever heard of. His name is Paul Filippi. He's an evangelical minister, and he lives in a place that few of you have ever heard of, Sibiu in Romania. 20 years ago, Paul came to my embassy. He wanted to talk, and talk we did for days and nights. And what is it that Paul wanted to tell me? He was then in his 70s, living in Sibiu, evangelical minister. What he wanted to tell me was that as a young man of 21, 22, he had joined the Waffen-SS, perhaps the cruelest of Nazi Germany's extermination forces. He had joined the Waffen-SS. He went to the Soviet Union. The mission of the Waffen-SS was to exterminate people, Jews, Roma, anyone different, the other. And that was his mission for 2 years in the Waffen-SS. He later withdrew when German forces were driven back to the west, to Hungary, where he surrendered to American forces and was interned for 2 years. When he got out of internment, he went back to Berlin and was converted to the evangelical faith by an evangelical minister. He then taught for 30 years at Heidelberg, the most distinguished university in Germany. When the communists were overthrown in Eastern Europe, he returned to his native Sibiu, and there he served as a distinguished minister. And now he was coming to see me in Bucharest. Why was he coming? He was coming to ask for my forgiveness. And I would say, Paul, I cannot forgive you. You did nothing to me. You did nothing to my immediate family. I was not a victim. I cannot forgive you. And Paul would go away dejected, depressed, and come back again and ask for forgiveness over and over again. But Paul should have known. I think he did know, and as all of you are thinking, only Paul could forgive himself. If he could not come to grips with his own acts, there's nothing I could do or anyone else could do to forgive him. Now, none of you are going to join the Waffen-SS, and none of you are going to go to Srebrenica and murder Bosnians, and none of you will join the Hutu in the slaughter of Tutsis in Rwanda. None of you is likely to commit a human rights crime. So the question for you is not to be concerned about what you did and should not have. But the question for all of us is, what in our lives should we have done that we didn't? Thank you.